Welcome to the HR Happy Hour Work Break. You are here with Trish and Steve. Hey, Steve Bose.
Hey, Trish. I felt like you started laughing at me before the show even started. Is it the Santa beard, which is
no, but
it's in its transitional stage.
You know what? I feel like I was giggling because as you were talking, I thought, I feel like I should give you my Christmas list or something. Can people send you their Christmas wish list and
go ahead.
Santa Steve will deliver?
It's December 7th. So the Christmas is what, about 2.5 weeks away? Something like that, if I did the math right.
Yes.
Oh, it's going to be brutal. We had a call today, like a professional call, and I was kind of, man, I look like, I don't know. I took the call obviously like this, but I don't know. I guess I can hang out too, because it will get slower, right? Just the pace of work does slow down at the end of the year in general. Even in a non-COVID year, it kind of usually did. So I don't have as many calls and meetings set up, and no more presentations to record. So I'm gonna try to make it to Christmas, Trish. That's the vow on the Christmas beard.
I think you should. You know what, too? I think people are far more understanding on what we look like. Obviously, with quarantine, there are far fewer haircuts happening and things like that. We all have hair that we wish would be better, but it's not. So I think the other thing I've noticed in the past, end of last week and this week, where I've had some calls and people will have, a toddler screaming in the background or a dog coming in or what. It's like no one even cares anymore. It's like, okay, no worries.
Yeah, it's kind of the normal thing, right?
It's the norm. So yeah, I like the beard. I was just giving you a little hassle. So what's new though? We're taking a work break early.
Yeah, we are.
So I'm glad I needed a work break early. Although we had a really good call this morning. I
want to talk about that? Go ahead. And then I have a question for you.
Our friends at Paychex, we did a briefing, like a formal briefing with them, which that's one of my favorite parts of the job because we hear so much about what's coming next in technology, and they have a lot of things in the works. But I wanted to also just draw attention. They have their free coronavirus help center, which is updated 24/7. And for compliance, that is really important. So I know there are other sites as well that are doing, trying to pull information together. But please, if you're, in whatever capacity, whether you're a business leader or an HR person or, a consultant like we are, right? It's information we can all use. So
yeah. And things are changing so quickly all over the country, right? And things are opening, things are shutting, right? There's different rules and regulations. It's so fluid. The fact that they're updating that site and those resources multiple times a day is really super helpful. It was a great demo too. I'm not going to sort of give away because I didn't actually ask them. There's one really cool thing that they showed us and we talked about. I can't really say what it was because I didn't ask them if I could say it in public, but it's some cool stuff coming, which I can't wait for. Hopefully we can talk about that more soon. So
they said actually early in 2021. So I would say that maybe we can do a podcast with them.
I've seen so many demos this year, so it's kind of rare. I perk up. I'm like, what? Really? What did today? So I was excited about some of the things they're doing there. Trish, I have a question for you. I was doing something earlier with some website, or account, password, whatever it was, and I ran into this, which is still around a lot, even in the days of like facial recognition and fingerprint recognition or what have you. The old, what is the security question deal, right? Like in case you forget your password or you haven't logged in from a new device. And so the questions I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Like what's your favorite one? Like of all the first street you lived on as a kid, your first pet's name is a good one. I think these questions like I'll never forget my first pet's name probably until I die, right? Because I've answered that question 17,000 times. Do you like, what's your question you pick?
The question I pick is, what's your first concert? And because like with the pet name, I get anxious because I think like, did I capitalize it, not capitalize it? It stresses me out, some of the questions. So, or I think like, I don't want them to know that. Well, but then I feel like an idiot. I have to tell you, because I actually use that one for banking, for example. And every time I call the bank, they say, what's your favorite or your first concert? And then I have to like tell the lady what my first concert was. It's always embarrassing. So
yeah, I'm surprised they still use them as much as they do. And then some sites make you pick like a whole from a menu of them. You have to pick multiple ones.
So
I'm like, I don't remember. Like I remember the pet name one. I can do my favorite sports team because I know the one I always pick. I say a few different sports teams, and like the street I sort of lived on as a kid, I remember that one. Beyond that, though, if those aren't there, you got to get into other things like, mother's maiden name. It's like, I don't really remember how to spell that. Like that's weird for me. All right. Well,
you know what though? I'll tell you what, I wonder if I feel like those should go away because a lot of those are things that people could go look up about us. I could probably,
they
if
are
I had
guessable.
time, digging up what is your mother's maiden name and what is, what's the streets that you lived on. Because again, just in white pages, it'll show you everywhere someone lived.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I go with the pet one because I'm pretty sure no one would know that. Like it's not something I've ever talked about, and
right.
No one, no, except in my family would remember it. Maybe.
What should the question be? What would be the best kind of questions? I think it should be name. Maybe I should make my own. Name the boss that you hated the most.
Okay. Yeah.
Which Disney character annoys you the most? Things like that. Things that only you really would know. But yeah, they should be different.
Yeah, they can't be so difficult though. You won't remember though. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you had multiple bosses you didn't like. Who did I put in for that one? Right? God forbid you get one of those wrong, because I've done that too. Right? I answered incorrectly or something, and then you're in that nightmare, right? Of like, you're not who you say you are. So identity.
You feel like you're committing fraud on your own account somehow. So
identity and security, even after all these years, still hasn't really been solved, I guess. So
no.
The other thing I've been reading a lot of, I did over the weekend, is kind of year end, right? So we're getting a lot of articles, surveys, things like that, go forward kind of looking things. And by the way, after I did my rant on predictions articles, and no one should do them, and I'm not participating in any, blah, 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 I probably have gotten 2 or 3 more requests to have my thoughts included in somebody's predictions.
Watch the show.
They obviously don't watch the show, but
goodness.
But the thing I've seen a couple of, and it's interesting, and it's also an interesting example of how headlines and articles can be completely misleading. So I'm going to read you a headline to this article, Trish, that I was reading over the weekend. Here it is. 3 in 4 workers want to return to an office in the future. Here's how they expect the workplace to change. So that's the headline. 3 in 4 workers want to return to the office in the future. But you read the details of the article, and what it actually says is only about 1/4 of people want to go back to the office full-time like it used to be. Only 1/4 want to go back full-time. The remainder are kind of evenly split between, I want to go back a couple days a week, maybe 2 to 3 days a week. And then there's another 25 to 30% who don't want to go back at all, right? They don't want to go back. They want to be on permanent work from home. But you read the headline, that headline makes you think that 3 out of 4 people want to rush back to the office. It's completely misleading. The headline should be, only 25% want to return full time. That's the interesting.
Isn't that the interesting part?
Yeah, and that was just one study. And I read another one today that Slack put out. I know Slack's been in the news lately, and their numbers are roughly the same. It was about 27% to 34%. But anyway, that seems like how it's falling out. About 1/4 want to go back, about 1/4 never want to go back, and a big group in the middle want some kind of in-between arrangement. So it's kind of falling into the classic bell curve a little bit too. And I actually think that makes a ton of sense too.
I do too. And thank you. We've got a comment here, same in the UK. Yeah, I think this is where we'll probably find it's very similar across the globe, I would imagine. A lot of us have been told for years that you couldn't really work from home in the types of jobs that we had. And it's been proven that we can. So you're right. If people... I don't know. I thought that beforehand, though. I've always been pretty blessed. I had jobs where I could actually work, even if it was just 1 day a week at home.
Yeah.
But you have to be someone who's really focused. My biggest concern and why I would be someone who might consider going back to an office, though, is I almost find like a lot of people when they're working remote or from home work more hours than they even did before in the office because there's no solid division between work time and home time. So you have to be very careful. It's very easy to fall into the trap of working all the time, right?
Most of the data I've seen on the work from home does suggest that's true, Trish. Yeah, I'd agree. And like I've seen it range from say like 45 minutes to as much as an hour and a half. average working day time working during the day extending, because it's extending out on either end even more. People are jumping on super early, like maybe if they have kids at home or something before they have to deal with that. And then after it all winds down at the end of the night, they're jumping on right at the end of the night. And not that people didn't do that before. Some people did. But
more.
It's happening more. Yeah. There's some really
I think also we talked about this really early on in the pandemic. We kind of even joked about like not having a commute anymore for people. And again, I think average commute is 25 to 35 minutes.
About half an hour,
studied roughly. And I know I've had them much longer at times in my career and whatnot. But yeah, when you take that time that you're normally in your car, which is usually, even if you're listening to a podcast like the HR Happy Hour or music or maybe an audiobook or something, at least you're not diving headfirst into work. Well, now, technology is such that we're truly jumping right in. And we talked about having do people need was it an artificial commute?
Artificial commuting time.
Artificial commuting time. So I don't know, it'll be interesting to see as these studies come out, how does this impact our mental health? Obviously, mental health is, we're much more aware. We're more in tune with our colleagues and our employers and our employees. And so, all of this is having so much stress on all of us. I like this one. You need to maintain a level of social interaction with work colleagues. That is so true. You miss all the water cooler talk. But here's my question, though. Having been in HR all of my career before I did start working from home permanently as a consultant, HR is such an island. You're usually excluded from that anyway. So I don't know. I mean, HR, I think, needs to be around in the building to overhear things. But you're certainly
I'm of the ilk. I miss that stuff less, honestly, Trish. But that's me. So I got two quick things before we wrap. One, remember, fans of the show will know I pitched really hard to be named the new executive designer for Brooks Brothers.
You did, yes.
They went to bankruptcy. They since got acquired by another company. They named their new top designer. It was not me. I did not get
it. Wasn't you?
Didn't get the gig. A designer named Michael Bastian got the gig. So I guess he's probably more qualified than me. And second, and I thought this was super interesting. Trish, are you an IKEA fan? You ever been in an IKEA store?
I love IKEA.
Okay. You ever get the IKEA catalog? You ever see that?
No.
Okay, well, you were one of the unlikely ones then. IKEA announced this week they're scrapping for good their print catalog.
Okay.
Which is a pretty big deal, apparently. At its peak of printing this thing and mailing it all over the world, they did 200 million copies of it a year in about 40 different languages and mailed it out to about 80 countries.
Okay.
No more print catalogs. So here's the question, Trish. Do you get any more print catalogs in the mail? Is that a thing that exists?
I think a company named Venus sends me one, and probably Honey Baked Ham. Honestly, I think that's the only two. But I will tell you what, the thing about IKEA is I don't think that the benefit comes from the catalog. For me, what I love about them versus maybe some other similar stores that sell similar type things is the way that they stage the little fake rooms. No, seriously, hear me out. So when we needed to buy a bed for my daughter, she and I went to IKEA and we went around in all the different bedrooms till we found one that she felt really comfortable in that bedroom. And then we just tried to buy everything and create that version, right?
It's good staging, yeah, absolutely.
So I love that. I love that IKEA stages things. I also love that they have great food on site. You can eat lunch there. They have the best meatballs.
I wonder if you can right now, though. I didn't look up the IKEA restaurant opening.
I don't know, but I'll mark that on my things to do for this month to find out for all the viewers if you can actually go eat in IKEA. But they also have the best lingonberry jam, which I buy bottles and bottles and jars of because I cook with it constantly. So there's my
well, no more catalog. Hopefully the jam survived the cut down.
All right. Well, listen, hey, thanks everyone for listening and watching as always. Thanks for catching up with us early today. And we will see you back here tomorrow. Bye for now.